Good Friday morning, Granbury Elementary School. It's so good to see you today. I hope you had a great week. We didn't have school on Monday, so that was fun. I got to have a day off in celebration of Dr. Martin Luther King. So I hope you did some fun things with your family. Thank you so much, boys, for answering my questions last week about Dr. Martin Luther King and sharing with me all the great things that you know about Dr. King and all the wonderful things that he's done for our country. Man, you all knew a lot about Dr. Martin Luther King, and I appreciate you sharing it, and I enjoyed reading all the things that you've learned about Dr. King. So thanks again for answering my question in Schoology. So boys and girls, this week, we've done a lot this week. Some of you have taken your MAP test. Some of you took your MAP test last week, and so you might have finished up this week. We started our next iReady diagnostic. So if you've logged into iReady this week, it's asked you to take another little bit of a test. Don't really like to call it a test, but it's just a way for us to see what you've learned. And boys and girls, I've been so proud of some of you all. Man, you have worked hard. You've taken your time. When you take your MAP test or your iReady test, I can see how long you work on it. And I noticed some of you did not work very long. You answered those questions so fast, I'm not sure you really did your best. Might have to talk to some boys and girls about that. But some of you boys and girls, man, I could tell you worked hard. You took your time. I know some of those questions were really hard. Some of you even told me you got frustrated with it. But I am so proud of you for doing your very best and for trying hard and not getting frustrated, even sometimes when the questions are hard. Because remember, boys and girls, a long time ago, we talked about that we can do hard things, that virtual school is hard. But you know what? We can do it because we're Granbury Geckos and we can do hard things. I'll tell you what, this year has been the hardest year for me. I'm a brand new principal at Granbury Elementary School, and some of you boys and girls, I've not even got a chance to meet because you've been virtual and you haven't been in our school. But I am still so thankful that I get to be your principal and I get to have you as part of my Granbury Elementary School family. So, boys and girls, I can do hard things and you can do hard things. I know you can. So, if you haven't finished your MAP test or you haven't taken your iReady diagnostic yet, I want you to do your very best. I'm going to be watching because I want all of my Granbury Geckos to work hard and to do their very best on everything that they do because I'm so proud of each and every one of you. And I cannot wait to get to meet you in person, whether that means you come back to Granbury or I get to meet you some other time, maybe in the summer or maybe next year when we can all come back to Granbury. So you are part of my Granbury Elementary School family, and I'm so thankful that you are a Granbury Gecko. So, boys and girls, this week we also had something else very historical happen. Do you know what the word historical means? It means something that will go down in history, something that doesn't happen all the time. So, what was that historical thing? It happened on Wednesday. Do you know? It was the inauguration of our new president. We have a new president now. That doesn't happen very often, boys and girls. That's one of those things that that's historical and that will be made in history, and we'll get to remember it. So I don't know if your family watched the inauguration. My family didn't get to watch the inauguration, but that's okay. We still knew that it happened, and it was still historical. So just think about that, boys and girls. What are some other, historical things that have happened in your life? Some of you aren't very old. Some of you might be 9 or 10 or even 5 or 6. But for those of us that are older like me, I'm not going to tell you how old I am. We've had lots of historical things happen in our life. And the older you get, the more historical things that will happen. Like a pandemic. That's pretty historical. That's something that we will look back on and we will remember even when we're older. So, what are some other historical things that might have happened in your life? We had a tornado in Nashville. That was kind of sad, but it was also historical. It was something that we will remember. That happened last spring in March. So, boys and girls, I want to think about it. What are some historical things that have happened in your life, or maybe even in your parents' lives? This would be a great time to talk to your mom and dad, or even your grandparents. I know some of you are so thankful that you have grandparents that live with you and they can share some really historical things that happened even longer ago than I was alive and longer ago than you were alive. So the more we live and the older we get, the more historical things we get to experience. And it's those things that stick in our mind and make memories for us that we can think back on as we get older. So that's our question in Schoology today is what are some historical things that have happened in your life or in your parents' life or even in your grandparents' lives? I can't wait to read some of the answers that you share with me because depending on how old you are or how old your parents or your grandparents or maybe even your great grandparents, maybe you have great grandparents that you can go and talk to and they can share lots of historical things that have happened. So, boys and girls, I miss you. I miss you being at Granbury Elementary School. I miss getting to see you walk down the halls and be in your teachers' classrooms. But, boys and girls, I love you. I love each and every one of you. And I am so thankful that you're a Granbury Gecko. And I can't wait till we're all back together again. So, have a wonderful weekend and go outside and play. Do something fun. Bye. See you next week.